This week on Epic Trails, we're in the legendary state of North Dakota. This is the best day of my life. We're gonna explore the prairies, we're gonna explore the Badlands, and we're gonna explore everything between.
This is classic cowboy movie territory right here.
There's not many other places where you can get that big of a view. So come with me as we experience what makes North Dakota so special. Welcome to the city of Bismarck. Home to 77,000 North Dakotans, Bismarck is the second most populous city in the entire state. North Dakota is anything but a flyover state. It's a web of stories, badlands, prairies, winding rivers, and the people who've carved out a life between them. On this trip, I'm not going to be following one trail on the map. I'm going to see how the people and the land shape each other. Before I disappear into the Badlands, I want to spend some time with the communities who have been rooted in this landscape for generations, to see how their stories are woven into the land we're about to explore.
The United Tribes International Powwow is one of the largest outdoor celebrations in North America, and it's right here in North Dakota. People from all over North America, Canada, sometimes Mexico, come and join in dance and celebration to make new friends, meet old friends, but it's just a commonplace, common purpose gathering.
It was such an honor to be invited to attend this powwow. I've never really done anything like this before. I met up with Dakota, and he's an incredible guy. He had so much knowledge, and he was so willing to share it with me. A bit later on in this trip, we're gonna be out on the Mattahey Trail. Is there any cultural significance with the Mattahey?
There is. That trail runs through a significant part of North Dakota history. That's where in 1864, General Alfred Sully led his command of about 2,200 soldiers in the Battle of the Badlands. It's a tertiary Civil War conflict. That's right here in North Dakota. But then the river itself is significant. Little Missouri River is called by Lakota people Chonsotkawakpa, which is the towering tree river.
The powwow is a vibrant celebration of time-honored traditions where the old blends seamlessly with the new. After the powwow, Dakota and I head to the North Dakota Heritage Center and State Museum to see how the tribes lived and learn a little more about the Mattahey.
This beautiful portrait of one of my personal living heroes, Gerard Baker. Gerard is one of the founding people of the Mattahey Trail in western North Dakota.
Listening to Dakota in the museum, I started to see North Dakota as one long trail of stories, layer on layer of people moving across the same hills. Not far from the museum is Fort Abraham Lincoln, a place where you can see how this land has been lived on, defended, and depended on, long before any mountain bike trails existed on the map. It's not the Mattahey, but it is a perfect warm-up for what's to come in our adventure.
I'm here at Fort Abraham Lincoln with my good buddy Easton here, and we're gonna be doing some riding this trip.
When you see Easton, you know the guy shreds on a bike.
I've been probably riding mountain bikes on some level for 25 years, I would say. When I was in my 20s, I caught the racing bug, and I've just been doing that ever since, you know.
So what I'm used to are big uphills in the Tennessee mountains, followed by big downhills. This is great because it's kind of like, it's a roller coaster. So you get this kind of magic carpet ride where you feel like you're never really climbing, you're never really bombing downhill, but you're always going fast. So this is the oldest state park in all of North Dakota. There was once a garrison here for cavalry soldiers, as well as an Earth Lodge village down here by the Missouri River. Oh man, kind of takes you back in time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a really neat place.
There's so much history out in North Dakota, and it's all layered right on top of each other. One minute, you're on a newly built mountain biking trail system, and then the next, you're riding through old US cavalry fortifications. And all this is 5 minutes away from downtown Bismarck.
So what's the difference between this and where we're gonna be going on the Mata Hay?
This is a pretty calm, tame warm-up for what we're about to experience in the next couple days. I mean, we're gonna deal with big, steep climbs, lots of exposure. We probably won't see any shade for a couple of days, so be ready for a little sunshine and maybe a little sunscreen.
Riding around Fort Abraham Lincoln is like a gentle prologue, a warm-up for the rest of our trip. The earthen homes were incredible. It's wild to walk into these things and kind of feel what it must have been like to live there.
This is the ceremonial lodge, so it's bigger than some of the family houses over there. It's incredible.
But it is just the appetizer. To really get a feel for North Dakota, we need to head west, out into the Badlands, to the Mata Hay. Epic Trails is brought to you by Sim4Adventure. Travel smarter with an eSIM. Get 1 gigabyte of free data at sim4adventure.com. Heliconia, adventure travel shows that inspire your next trip. Much of North Dakota is classified as a prairie grassland, and you really see that when you get out on the highway and just drive. Right now, we're going from Bismarck out to Medora, and you can see everything around us is just flat, vast prairies begging to be explored, and that's what we're gonna do. Should be a fun, relaxing trip. We had a little bit of a break in the schedule, so I took the opportunity to walk downtown, check out some of the stores. And I found a store that sells old Western wear, cowboy hats, and I just knew I had to have one. The problem with me and cowboy hats is that I've just never really had the confidence to pull them off. Never really had the sprezzatura.
Honestly, confidence is the most important thing, and finding the right size.
You know what? I'm here, so I'm gonna try. Now that I look the part, I explore Old West Medora, a town lost in time. And I run into an old friend, Teddy Roosevelt, my favorite president.
This guy is the reason that we have so many amazing national parks in this country. Teddy Roosevelt kind of founded the national park movement, so we have him to thank for a lot of the good stuff we've got. So while we're here in Medora, we figured we'd swing by and visit some of our friends up at Bar X Ranch. This is a cattle ranch off into the Badlands of North Dakota, and they're gonna put me to work.
We are replacing a gate here. Well, we replaced the post and the gate, but the post got hit by the semi that was coming in, unloading all of our hay here. You want a hammer or you want to hold the rail?
Let me hold the rail. Yeah. One of the things I love about doing stuff like this is that it reminds you that there are still people out there that work with their hands for a living. Even I find myself behind a computer tic-tacking all day. And man, you get out here and you see what it's like to be out in the sun and really working.
We grew up with horses ever since I was little, but grew up farming more or less. So just running equipment and machinery and stuff. Never really had too much horse riding to do, but that's kind of why I came out here. I was building houses at the time and it was really cold. I'm originally from Wisconsin. It was really cold and I was like, this isn't what I want to be doing. So I gave Doug a call and said, can I come out there and cowboy? He goes, sure. Like a glove.
Thank you. What's your favorite part about ranching?
Oh, probably the riding horse part of things.
Yeah. When I was told I was going to do this episode, I went to my brother's farm to ride a little bit to see if I could learn a few things about it. And I think the lessons paid off. I feel all right. I feel comfortable. What about you, Rudy?
I know I've talked about stepping back in time a few times already in this episode, but nothing's really changed since the Old West. They're still doing it the exact same. And it's so cool to be invited to take part in something like this. You kind of have a conversation with the horse when you're riding, and each horse is going to have a different personality. It was just such a wonderful experience, and that's why I think that people love riding horseback so much. It's more than just getting around. It's forming a bond with this incredibly powerful animal.
You're okay. You're okay. That's what my grandfolks did, my parents did, all my family did, and I guess that's what I do. But you know, you can start the day when you want, quit it when you want. Nobody's my boss. Well, sometimes. But anyway, yeah, it's a great life.
Spending a day with real cowboys at the Bar X Ranch showed me what it means to work this land the old-fashioned way. For the next part of our trip, we're going to be doing the same thing but in a different language, trading horses for bikes and riding along the Mata Hay. Epic Trails is brought to you by Sim for Adventure. Travel smarter with an eSIM. Get 1 gigabyte of free data at simforadventure.com. Heliconia, adventure travel shows that inspire your next trip. So we met up with our friends here at Dakota Cyclery, and we're gonna embark on our epic adventure along the Mata Hay Trail.
95, they start building the Mata Hay Trail. At that time, it was 100 miles, completed in 1999, and expanded to another 47 miles to the south. So we have 144 miles of the Mata Hay. So it's epic point-to-point mountain bike destination.
This is something I was really excited about because I've gone mountain biking before, I've gone backpacking before, but I've never combined the two together to go bike packing. Bike packing, believe it or not, is a lot like backpacking, but on a bike. Crazy, right? I'll bet you couldn't have guessed that.
You ready to work up an appetite?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it. Kick us off, Mike.
Let's do it.
I won't be leading for long, that's for sure.
Woo. I think it's pretty challenging. A lot of places in the country, people come from kind of steady climbs and then into a downhill. And that's what they expect out of mountain biking. And out here, you're just punching up and punching down, back and forth, and it's just a consistent push.
Oh, man. I'll tell you, out here, the uphills are a little more painful, and the downhills are a little faster.
The uniqueness of the trail out here is all different surfaces, all different landscapes. You know, there's kind of a trail for all levels even. The stuff closer to town is a little fast and flowy. As you get away from town, it gets a little more remote and a little more difficult. So just the ability to kind of pick and choose what you want to ride and have such a long stretch and ride as long as you want and not ride the same thing twice is really unique.
I love mountain biking because you kind of have to lock in. You're tearing through the trees, you're tearing across these landscapes, you try not to go over the edge. You just have to maintain this consistent focus, all while getting this wind in your hair, all while feeling the freedom of just blasting down a trail. It was a hot day out on the Mattahey, so crossing the Little Missouri River at the very end felt incredible. I don't know why, but setting up my tent, always been a very relaxing thing for me. It's like a big breath of fresh air. All the hard work's done. Now you get to sit back and relax and watch the sunset. No chance of rain tonight, so I'm not gonna fool with the rain cover. I'm gonna hang out here, look at the stars. I hear you can see them pretty clearly all the way out here.
This is about the perfect kitchen for me. We're rushing a little bit. You know, it's a low-key trip this time, so we're missing a thing or two, but it doesn't get much better. Also, look where we are. It actually doesn't get any better. Usually, you know, we're doing the salmon dinner day one, but today we switched it up to steaks. But it's all good. We try and fit in a stir fry or a curry. Everyone who works here likes to cook, so it's kind of a highlight of the job. We get to have a little fun with it. Everything we cook is pretty good. I don't think we send any guests home disappointed.
Eating this right now, it's gonna make it real difficult to eat that dehydrated food in the woods tomorrow. I'm gonna be missing this big time. Thanks, boys.
Epic Trails is brought to you by Sim for Adventure. Travel smarter with an eSIM. Get 1 gigabyte of free data at simforadventure.com. Heliconia, adventure travel shows that inspire your next trip.
You know, I've had such a nice time up here in North Dakota so far. We've met some really cool people. I've learned a lot. We did some high-octane mountain biking up on the buttes, saw some incredible things. And now I'm thinking it's time to slow it down a little bit and go on a nice, easy backpacking trip. We're still here on the Mattahey. We've loaded up our stuff, and we're gonna hike out a ways, find a beautiful spot to settle down and watch the sunset. It's gonna be great. I think I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah. There we go. One of my favorite things about going to new places is learning from all the local experts. Learning about the animals that live here, learning about the geography and what shaped it. I like to learn things. I love coming out here and being taught about all this incredible stuff. I think the world would be pretty boring if you just kind of knew everything, right? So when you're up here, you'll pretty frequently come across what looks like burnt soil, like charcoal. That's because there's natural coal deposits deep underground. And every now and then, through natural processes, they ignite, and that cooks the clay above them into this bright red color. So when you look out into the buttes and you see these red bands, that's because they're essentially being turned into pottery clay by burning coal underneath. We're down here just at the beginning of the fall season. So everywhere we look down in the river valleys, the trees are turning gold and red. So you're just surrounded by these beautiful colors of the canyons and the trees and the big blue sky. There's just so much to appreciate. I'm lucky in that I get to travel all around the world and see beautiful sights in every hemisphere. What's so special about North Dakota is just how big the environment is. You can see for miles in every single direction out here in the Badlands. It's such an expansive space, and there's not many other places where you can get that much terrain. There's not many other places where you can get that big of a view. You feel like you're free to explore in any direction here. There's no limits. You can pick a direction and you can just go for miles. And to me, that kind of freedom is something that I just don't see everywhere. Yeah, I think this is the spot. Nice and flat, incredible view. Oh yeah. The North Dakota Badlands are a maze of steep buttes, rivers, and prairies, always shifting, always revealing something new around every corner. This land shaped the first people who lived here and inspired the greats like Teddy Roosevelt. And today, cowboys, ranchers, and riders work the land the same way their ancestors did. And there's space here for you too, to shoulder a pack, follow the trail, and write your own version of legendary. If you get the chance to explore North Dakota, take it. The people are warm, the landscape is wild, and it'll stay with you long after you leave. And until next time, I'm Mike with Epic Trails, and I will catch you all later.